Alright, as usual, I get ahead of myself and I start ripping and tearing before I take video documentation of it. So before I get too much further, I want to go ahead and do that. So I already pulled the intake manifold off because it was evident that this fuel system was pretty rusty, so I had to take it all apart to clean it up. Just to show you what part of what the sediment bowl looked like. This is what I got out of it. So it was pretty well corroded. The fuel tank was really rusty. The gasket was gone, so it was just sitting on there loose. It had been filled with water for who knows how long. Let's see. The carburetor, I'll show that here in a little bit. It was trashed. Pulled the spark plugs out. I must have left it in the Jeep. But these spark plugs are the old spark plug style, with instead of the electrode coming off the side and then the hook kind of comes off the side. It's got the wire, it comes off the side at an angle, and then it hooks around to the bottom of the spark plug. And these also have the old style, if I can get it off, of having like a little set screw deal on the top here where the connector goes in, and they're painted red. So I'm wondering if these are the original spark plugs. They're D89Ds, I think, is the champion number on them. Also, when I took it apart, the gas mechanism here, it was all froze up. So when I was out here last night with some PB Blaster, sprayed it down, got this loose at least, so it'll catch. It's a little stiff, but at least it moves and it's got some spring to it. The pin here where this all pivots, that was rusted fast inside the bore. This gas system, it has been at least 20 years since this thing has ran on gas. So the spark system is pretty well trashed. The rotor is extremely loose. It's got a lot of wear on it. I can't show it. It's got a lot of wear on it. The cap, looks like the rotor had been brushing up against the terminals in the cap or something. And the rotor itself is pretty wore. You can see the scrape marks on it. Don't know how much the video will show it, but it doesn't even have a square edge on the edge of the rotor. So that's got to be replaced. Cap's got to be replaced. It's missing half the sparking plug wires. Let's see. I think it's about all the further I've gotten on it. When I went to get it out, the brake was completely stuck, and the brake was actually rusted fast to here, the actuator and the outside cover. So it's all laying in the battery box right now. And actuator, I guess this is the other disc. Actuator's in the bottom. But yeah, it's all pretty crusty, rusty. So I got all new wires for it, a new fuel bowl. I'm going to use this existing gas line. I'll clean it up. I got cap, rotor, points, condenser, all that stuff to clean this all up. This generator's rusted fast. This thing won't turn at all. The spring broke to hold the changeover linkage here. What else? Hydraulic reservoir's empty. Engine oil. I don't see any water in it, but it's definitely diluted. When you smell it, it smells very high of diesel, but it doesn't have the consistency of that has a lot of diesel in the oil. I just think it's been a long time since this oil has been changed. I do have a video of this running on diesel about 5 years ago, but the starter isn't the right one. It's like a gas starter or something. So I have another starter to put on there. It's missing the water trap, but I have another water trap. Yeah, it's going to take, I guess that fitting's loose there. That's a little unnerving. I didn't notice that before. I'm surprised I didn't fall off on the way here. Just sat in there like that the whole entire way. 5-hour road trip. That line stayed there. Piping's missing out of the bottom of the radiator, which is also slightly concerning, considering that I know this tractor ran about 5 years ago. So I'm really hoping it had water in it when it ran, because otherwise I probably have a cracked head. Probably have a cracked head anyway, but before I try and get this running, you get it off the trailer. I got the plumbing to put a ball valve and everything on there. So we'll see if I can't at least get it moving by tomorrow. Or try to anyway. And then do a better overview of this tractor. But this one is going to be rough. She is going to be rough. I got about an hour and a half of light. I'm going to get to her. Alright, here at the bench, got the intake manifold off. When I pulled it off, like everything else on the gas side, this linkage here was completely stuck with a little bit of penetrant. It actually snaps on its own now. And inside, I don't know where the water came from or how long it was in there, or how it cut in there. That's what I'm really trying to figure out. But you can see, this flashlight's stupid, that little ring inside there where the butterfly had closed and kept the moisture out. So it's clean on this side and crusty rusty on the other side. I worked on it last night a little bit, tried to clean it up. It's not as bad as I thought it would be looking at it, but still I worked on trying to clean all the junk off of here. This end, so got the change mechanism, turns the spark on and off. Besides this disc being really loose, this side doesn't look too bad. It obviously has moisture in it, but this side, on the other hand, I cleaned it up a little bit last night, but when I pulled this off, it was full with water, and the spring on the inside had broken, rusted. I mean, you can see the water's scale on the spring. So I need to find a new spring for this end. And the carburetor, that's another. So this thing, I'm not even going to try to rebuild it, honestly. So I cleaned all this up because this is all crusty, rusty. And I didn't touch any of this. This is all rusted fast. I'm surprised that this moves. The deal that holds the float needle in place. The choke is completely rusted fast. So on the top side here I sprayed with penetrant, so it looks a little better, but underneath this valve here, this is packed full of crust rust. This butterfly is completely rusted fast, and down inside, this flashlight's terrible. But down inside it is real bad. So this thing hasn't moved for 20 years, I'm guessing. This carb hasn't been used. There's no way, with that much rust and the way it looks, in 5 to 10 years it would have done that. The float, like I've seen before, that little tab is broke off there from just being rusty. But the aluminum doesn't look too bad on the outside, but on the inside, got the normal corrosion. And I guess it's on here. Yeah, that one right there broke off. I only broke off one of the screws. I thought I was going to break every single one because, man, they were tough. Fuel bowl, I cleaned it up a little bit, but after looking at it, I thought, you know what, it's just going to be easier to get a new fuel bowl, because I actually broke it. I broke the top half off inside the bottom of the fuel tank. So I got it pretty close. Turns out a 5/8, 18, 16, can't remember what thread it is, tap is pretty doggone close to 3/8 pipe. So it's enough to get me started, but not enough to clean up the threads as far as I need. So I need to get a 3/8 pipe tap to finish that off. But yep, got the distributor out. I'm going to start cleaning it up. It's obviously had water in this segment. The points are really corroded. Can't show it, of course. Points are really corroded though. So put a new tune-up kit in it, throw it back together, or work on trying to get this cleaned up. Do a spare carbs. So I'm going to throw a spare carb on it and see if I can't get her to go. Before I get much further, I'll show what I'm actually working with here. It's a later 400, diesel obviously. Don't know anything about this tractor at all, no history on it, nothing. So I'm starting from scratch, starting from the bottom with this one. Did some more work on it last night. Hop up the trailer here. Looks fairly clean inside the exhaust ports, no rust or anything like I was anticipating to see. Let me show the spark plugs here. And it's got this design spark plug. Got new ones to throw in it, and I checked last night. Where's my screwdriver? There's my screwdriver. So I popped the valve cover here, It's actually fairly clean inside, a lot cleaner than I was expecting. And the good thing is that all my starting valves are free and none of them are stuck. So that's super exciting. What else? Got this all ready to go, distributors back in. I got the new carb on the manifold, so it's ready to go on. All this can go back together. Tank, fuel system can go back together. And let's swing around to the other side here. Wanted to take the diesel fuel system apart and look at it. Never seen anything like this before. The fuel filters are dry. I mean, they smell a little bit like diesel residue, but I mean, they are dry to the touch. No film, nothing. Pop this fuel filter out. Obviously, somebody's been in here before because this would have been the cotton one. I'm pretty sure, unless they change it for the 100 series, but the MDs at least, this would have been your cotton spiral filter. This would have been your cartridge. But also, too, somebody's done some maintenance on it. Oh, no, not what I wanted. I wanted the other thing. Because the bleeders on the top are rounded off. So somebody had been doing a little bit of maintenance at least on it. But the inside of the fuel filter canisters here are completely dry. So no diesel residue at all. Kind of strange. Some of the stuff I've taken apart, there used to be a diesel film, but not on these. And I guess when you've been working on these long enough, you know what filters you got to keep in stock. This one just happened to travel with me from North Dakota. This is a 3418, or sorry, yeah, can't read, 3148 fuel filter. I only got one, but at least having one clean fuel filter is better than none. Inside the air cleaner there, all sorts of ladybugs and rust and junk, so obviously water had sat in there for a while. What else to show here? Got the new glass, I'll put that in, blow these fuel lines out, and then see if we can't get her to go. I got new battery cables, so I'm going to pull the battery box off here, clean the ground up, run new positive, negative battery cables. Oh, there's another fuel bowl bottom. Interesting. I'm hoping I can get these bolts out. Somebody had hooked up a smaller ground cable to the shifter there. This shifter is shot. It's got a bolt in it. And yeah, it's really loose. So that shifter's going to need a kit. This one does have the fast hitch with the optional side bracket right down here to up there on the side. That's what that hose is hanging for. It's got a little cover to the key. There's the Briggs & Stratton key in there. Other than that, I've got some few finishing touches to do, and then we'll see if I can actually get this baby to turn over. One of the last things I did last night before I quit, way around here, really wanted to get this off the trailer to make it easier to work on, was I went to drain the oil, and first thing I got out was water. When it started out, the way it was running, I was going to expect to have more water, so I'm thankful it's not that much, but still having water in there, but we'll see. It may have just been a lot of condensation for a lot of years, but I'm going to keep on chipping away at her here, see how far I can make it, and see if we can't have a machine ready to be run here in a couple hours. Alright, before I go ahead and crank her over again here in the daylight for the first time, wanted to show you what all I have done to this to get it running. I had an extra coil laying around from the other various ones I've gotten running, so that's on there. New sparking plug wires. This is a spare carb. It's for an MD, so it doesn't have the right choke, but it runs okay on it. I still had to go through clean the carb up. The inside of the intake manifold had a lot of water in it, so it was pretty rusty in there, so I cleaned all that, cleaned all the ports out best I could. Both of these ends had water and cleaned them out. Distributor's completely rebuilt. New cap, new rotor, all that other stuff. Last night was running it, discovered that these hydraulic lines leak, and luckily just happened to have an extra set. So I just got done replacing them. New O-rings in there too, or the quad seals I guess. Changed the oil, so new oil filter, and show the last time that this thing was serviced. This was the oil filter, it was in it. So you know that baby's been in there a while. Water in there, got the dock radiator drain system. It's just a ball valve with the handle up out of the way, makes it easy. If you want to drain it, just throw yourself a nice little elbow on there with a nipple, long nipple, put a bucket underneath it, drain it right in there, no mess. Let's see, starter, because it was missing the starter. Cleaned the fuel tank out, cleaned the fuel line out, had a leak in it, and I actually had to put some tank repair putty on the corner there. This is a short-term fix, but looks like it's holding, so that short-term fix might be a long-term fix. New fuel bowl. I just got done filling the hydraulic reservoir, because with the lines leaking it was empty. New battery cables. This had a bolt in the shifter, so that's going to need to be replaced, because I do not care for that at all. Swing around the front here. Yeah, it's a pain working on this on my trailer. Let's see, cleaned the pump out, new oil in there, new glass in the water trap, include a stink bucket in I guess. One new filter, because that's all I had was one filter, but they look clean on the inside. But regardless, put a new filter in there. Bled the lines out. I was doing that last night while I was running on the gas side. Other than that, oh yeah, I guess I still got some customers. I took care of a bunch of them last night. So I was going to be working here and I did not want to have to deal with them. But it doesn't look like I got all of them. Oh, I guess I got some more there too. Fantastic. Had an IH fuel filter in it. So they could be original for all I know. Can't see the logos very well. How about in the sun? No, still no. But it's the old IH logo, so more than likely, if I had to guess, probably the original fuel filter. But anyway, I think... oh yeah, I drained the water out of the rear end too. So this is how much water. Obviously there's a little bit of oil floating on top, but that's how much water I got out of the rear end. I got water out of the oil pan, some chunks of gears. So we'll keep running it here and see if I get any more in the pan. But enough talking, let's go ahead and fire it up and see if that new line I put on there leaks or not. See how it runs in the daylight for the first time.